reason we called you together this afternoon is that to announce that earlier today we arrested a 22-year employee of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. Lieutenant Reggie Lott was arrested on one count of organized fraud and also grand theft. A couple weeks ago we received a complaint from the Jacksonville Brotherhood of Police Officers. That's a fraternal and charitable organization that's made up of members of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, that they had found some discrepancies in their books. They were getting ready for an IRS audit of some nature, and they found out that there was discrepancies in the balances in their checking accounts. And an investigation was launched, and we found information that led us to believe that the treasurer of the organization, Lieutenant Lott, had withdrawn a large sum of money on numerous occasions and apparently has allegedly used it for his own personal gain. The amount of money involved in the investigation is in excess of $50,000, and today, after our investigation culminated, we booked Mr. Lott into the pretrial detention facility and charged him with those two charges.
How long have you been with that organization?
I have got no idea.
Over what span of time was this theft?
I got no idea. I think it was over the last several months, but exactly I don't know.
How was he thought of among JSO?
I don't know. He was a lieutenant in Patrol Zone 6. We reassigned him to a desk duty job a couple of weeks ago, but I haven't talked to anyone that's worked with him. I can tell you that the sheriff's commitment has been to this community that we are going to hire men and women of character. And anytime one of the individuals that work here violate that community trust, the sheriff takes it very seriously. As a result of that, he ordered the investigation, and it resulted in his arrest. And today, he left the agency. He's no longer with our agency.
What is his pension? What about his pension? Did you clarify that? Will he retain that?
The pension isn't at risk unless you're convicted of stealing from the city.
Okay.
So, I mean, he saw the handwriting on the wall that once this criminal investigation had run its course, that the sheriff would move to terminate him from employment. So he went ahead and retired before the sheriff could fire him.
So he's retired, so he could retain his pension no matter what happens in this investigation. I mean,
that is correct.
That is correct. So he will be able to keep that. Okay.
When did that tip come in, and when did they start the investigation?
I'm sorry to hear you.
When did the tip come in from the group?
We met with the group a couple of weeks ago, and we've been investigating it for a couple of weeks.
What did he spend the money on?
There was some questionable purchases at high-end retail stores, of which I had never heard of, like a Dooney and Burke or at another high-end retail store. College tuition were paid for a member of the family, and that kind of stuff. But exactly what it was spent on, I couldn't tell you that, Dana.
Luxury items, you don't know. I mean,
right.
No motorcycles, for example.
I don't know if he bought a motorcycle or not. That's not his.
I mean, he's doing awfully well, already making around $90,000. Isn't it awfully greedy to then take all that extra?
That's something you'd have to ask him. I mean, greed or no greed, it wasn't his money. He shouldn't have taken it in the first place. I don't care how much money he made.
All right.
What was the nature of the audit, the IRS audit? You know what that was coming for?
Yeah, I think it was just a routine. They changed their status from one status to another.
As a nonprofit.
Right. When they went nonprofit, they were required to file certain papers every year, and this was the first time that it was due as a result of the changing of their status, and that's when the discrepancies came to light.
Okay.
So it wasn't like they were being audited. It was like a normal IRS filing.
Okay. But they were auditing, and they found this out.
That's correct.
And it's been over the last several months, not past a year.
I can't tell you that, Dana.
All right.
All I can tell you is the guy stole over $50,000. Now, our investigators know when it started and when it stopped, but in the grand scheme of things, that's not important to me. The fact that he just stole $50,000, I don't care if it was the last 6 months, the last 12 months, or the last 2 years. We're not going to have a guy like that working here.
one last thing, what, the Brotherhood, what can you say about them as, you know, I mean, they're officers from this agency and they do charity work. I mean, what's your sense of what they are like?
Oh, it's a very admirable, worthwhile organization that their whole goal and mission is to use their dues to do good for others. And this was over half their assets. So, you know, it impacts their ability to be able to help those that needed the money a lot more than Mr. Lott.
Describe your disappointment in something like this.
Well, it disappoints me anytime that the public trust is violated by one of the officers. Again, I can't reiterate the point. The sheriff has said for the last 8 years, we're going to have men and women of character. And at the end of the day, when we get an allegation that shows where they violated that pledge of being men and women of character, we're going to investigate the facts and let it lead us to a logical conclusion. If that means that you get arrested for stealing and you have to retire after 22 years under a cloud of betrayal, so be it.
All right.
Thanks, sir.